G'day legends, Trav Dittmar here, host of the Cold Exposure Hot Topics podcast. Look, thought I would jump on today just for something a little bit different. Something I wanted to have a bit of a chat about because it was very, very pertinent in my day today. I had an appointment. Those of you who know my journey know my history of post-traumatic stress disorder. I have been pretty open with sharing that on my social media platforms. But to cut a very long story short, my thoughts on this appointment today, like the intention of the appointment was to just clarify some dates on a couple of things. But unexpectedly and unbeknownst to me, I had to go into a fair bit of depth once again about the specifics of the traumatic events that occurred to me. I've been shaken up ever since from that, and rightfully so. You know, I didn't expect to have to go through that today and articulate things in different ways and answer these sorts of questions. And so yeah, my focus has been all over the place today, and it's been just, a really, really tough mental health day. And I wanted to come on and mention that because my life is great, right? I am so lucky with a beautiful wife who is approximately 6 months pregnant now. We're, heading into the third trimester, 3 months till Bubs is born. So very, very exciting times. I've got an awesome new job with some great colleagues, a few different other business opportunities lining up, and awesome relationships with my family and my friends, and I'm making an impact in the community that I want to make in the community. And all of these things are unreal, all right? But that doesn't necessarily mean that everything's good all the time. Today, yes, I'm obviously still grateful for those things, eternally grateful for those things, but today was one of those days where, it sometimes it just hits you. And like I said, it wasn't something that I expected today, but it was probably a timely reminder as well that, things as complex as post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, depression, all of these sorts of things, they don't necessarily just completely go away. Sometimes we have triggers, and in this case, today's trigger was fairly obvious, talking extensively about the specifics. But I just wanted to put that out there that, there's no reason, there's nothing to be gained from putting the expectation on yourself to just be better once you feel like you've gotten to a point of dealing with something. We are human, and, while we are blessed in a lot of ways within our lives, in different ways, there are some things that are very real, that are very valid, that do happen and do affect us. And it is okay to feel that way. And, I think we're getting a lot better as a society in terms of helping people through these times. And I think, one thing that I really think could help people, and ways in which, if you've got people that have complex sort of post-traumatic stress or mental health issues, is just by listening empathetically, not trying to solve the problem necessarily, because in doing so, while you're meaning to be helpful, sometimes the person doesn't need the solution. If they have something like a diagnosis in one of these categories, it's usually because they have tried all of these things and haven't, or have had varying degrees of luck, I should say. But yeah, I think it's really important that we do understand that these things are going to affect people in different ways at different times, and sometimes we aren't going to expect that. And all these people who are going through this particular situation, like I was today, really want is just to feel safe and supported. And this is not to say by any means that I haven't felt that at all today, but it's not necessarily about pointing out all of the good things that someone has in their life, because, 9 times out of 10, they're aware of that too. As I said, I listed off everything that's great in my life, and I am under no illusions that my life is not incredible, because it absolutely is. But it is okay to have these days. These days are all a part of the journey. It is not just simply not realistic to expect your life to go like this in a trajectory once you put your mind to it and do all of the things, tick all of the boxes. The journey is naturally going to be like this, and as long as it's heading in an upward direction, that's all right. But there are going to be rises and falls along the way, and today was one of those days. So thank you for listening to that, guys. I just wanted to really get that out there because I feel like it's important. And, while we're getting more aware as a society of mental health and the way it can affect people, I think people still aren't overly sure of how best to support the people in their lives. And so hopefully this has given some insight to that as well. But I do appreciate and love every single one of you in my feed, in my life. And yeah, if you are struggling, or if you're feeling burdened by expectation, or, the guilt of feeling down, just please don't. I know it's easier said than done, but you are allowed to be a human. You are allowed to have your off days, and you are allowed to feel what you need to feel. And please, 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 if you do need someone to talk to who is never going to judge and will just purely be an ear, please reach out. I would love to support you in any way I can. But thanks to those of you who made it to the end. I love you all, and I will see you for the ice bath a little bit later on. Cheers, legends.